Remember when Trump first came out with this, enemy of the people? Ooh, folks were shocked, horrified. How could he say that? I was vaguely uncomfortable with it for about a second. And actually now you can underline it and put a great big exclamation point at the end, because who else would try to start a race war in America other than an enemy of the people?
Breaking news in Kansas City, a homeowner charged with 2 felony counts after he shot a black teenager who rang his doorbell mistakenly.
Authorities in Kansas City speaking just moments ago after the shooting of a 16-year-old black teen who rang the doorbell at the wrong home.
Out of Kansas City, Missouri, where the county prosecutor has charged an 85-year-old white man for shooting a black teenager twice.
All day long, again and again, and panel discussions and lawyers and black victim, white accused, right? And I hope this young man makes a full recovery. Ralph Yarl, looks like, yeah, I mean, what a horrible episode. Went to the wrong house, gets shot. That shouldn't happen. But you see how they're magnifying the case, elevating it, making it into a national thing. So much so that, yeah, everyone's jumped on the latest bandwagon.
I'm heartbroken and angered by this situation. I think race had a lot to do with it. I'm not sure if this wasn't a black child that we'd be having this conversation now. So I get the outrage.
If it were a black shooter, you would not be having the conversation. You get the outrage. Of course you do. You can exploit this, and it shuts people up, like that reporter, huh? Just taking it all in. You're saying wildly premature things you don't know, but you just go ahead and say it. Hey, where's the outrage when these kids die every day in America? Now, why aren't their cases elevated? Well, I guess they had the misfortune or whatever of being shot by other people of color. That just doesn't matter as much. That, well, you don't get a phone call from the President of the United States. Your family is on their own. Yeah. Joe Biden, actually, last night I had the chance to call Ralph Yarl and his family, but everybody else is kind of on their own. You know, folks, white people shoot each other too. It happens. And it happened actually almost at the same time. A white woman drives up the wrong driveway in upstate New York, went to the wrong house. Guy comes out and allegedly opened fire, and she's dead. This is the guy they arrested. This actually happened. This is not causing a national conversation. It's just an item in the news, straight reporting. Interesting, the difference, isn't it? And can we go to Chicago for a moment? Did you see what happened there? Yeah, in the middle of that, a woman is getting beaten up. That's really tough to watch, right? Now, it happens to be a white woman, and everybody surrounding her, it would appear to be a person of color. Now, where would they have, I have a feeling that race might have been a factor here. Could be, right? If the roles were reversed, certainly there would be no question whatsoever. Maybe these young men have been watching the news, watching MSNBC, Lester Holt trying to fire everybody up. I think that's a damn likely possibility, don't you? And of course, the mayor making excuses for all of this. Again,
the vast majority of the young people that came downtown because it was a great weather and an opportunity to enjoy the city. That's absolutely entirely appropriate. There are a few that came with different intentions, and they have and they will be dealt with. But I'm not going to use your language, which I think is wrong, to say that is mayhem.
All right, it was not mayhem. The mayor declared this not mayhem. Ask that woman in the middle here if this is not mayhem. It's worse than mayhem. This is hell. This is hell on earth. This stuff is hell on earth. This scene, these scenes, it's being explained away by Democrat politicians. And so is this, by the way. Not as many, but they're doing it behind the scenes. Watch what happens here. Bam. Police officer hit in the head with a bottle. Just hit in the head for standing there, for being a cop. Hit in the head with a bottle for being a cop. And who did it? Well, allegedly, this is the guy, and he's got quite the record. And that's the way life is in New York. Everyone's walking around, all kinds of All kinds of maniacs out there, and they feel emboldened to do stuff. Why would that be? Why? What's happening in this current climate that would encourage this kind of behavior, fueling anger at everybody, at cops, at white women?
The confrontation caught on video, a white woman blocking a black tenant from entering their apartment building, demanding proof that he lives there.
Yeah, this was on national news. I'll never forget this moment. This woman just did not recognize somebody coming into her apartment complex. Everybody's supposed to have their own key, their own key fob. And she said, "I'm sorry, who are you?" Didn't want to let the guy in. And they led the national news with her. These kinds of reports could really toxify America, don't you think? Maybe those kinds of reports that we hear day after day after day, systemic racism, right, everywhere. Maybe some of these young men have been watching the news, right, and took it out, their feelings, the lies they've been told, on that poor woman in the middle of it all. I think that's what's happening. I do. I also think that the Biden family is clearly corrupt. Clearly, we have it from the House Oversight Committee. Now that at least 9 Bidens have received money from the Biden family enterprises, basically cashing in on the Biden name. 9. We know 3 have been identified, 6 more unidentified Biden family members. So this is huge. This is important. It gets brushed under the rug. And they say, what about Jared Kushner? Jared Kushner, you know this guy? He's actually brilliant, the son-in-law of the president, kind of a squeaky clean guy. And, well, look what they did to him.
When you put Hunter Biden and Burisma, Ukraine, next to Jared Kushner and Qatar, Jared Kushner and Saudi Arabia, Jared Kushner and China, Jared Kushner and Japan.
Whether it's Trump's tax returns, whether it's the deals that Jared Kushner was involved in, whether it was the deals that Jared and Ivanka were involved with while in the White House working in the West Wing, for all the talk that we're going to hear about Hunter Biden, there's plenty of scrutiny to be had about the people who actually worked in the West Wing.
While the right is having a collective freak out about what a private citizen, Hunter Biden, did when his father was no longer vice president, Jared and Ivanka made $640 million while they were working at the White House.
Yeah, the guy's a money machine. He makes money. He's an international businessman before he actually met the Trumps, before he had anything to do with them. And in college, he was flipping buildings and making lots of money. Bought this building in college for $2.25 million, sold it 2 years later, and made a $2 million profit. I didn't do that in college. Did you? What else has he been up to? He bought a newspaper. He actually bought a newspaper just out of college while he was going to law school for $10 million, like Citizen Kane. How about this? He bought a $1.8 billion building in Manhattan in 2007. This is all before he met and married Ivanka, all right, 2009. Isn't that fascinating? Here's something else. I looked into his background. So, and from my research, I found that no connection exists between Louis Freeh and Jared Kushner, the former director of the FBI, but there seems to be a very big and unusual one between Louis Freeh, former director of the FBI, and Hunter Biden. Now, for some reason in 2015, let's see, emails show from the FBI director to Hunter, as you know, our family foundation made a $100,000 contribution to Haley's Children's Trust last year. Haley, as in Haley Biden, Hunter's girlfriend. Now, why did that happen? Okay. Oh, here's a bit of a clue. In 2016, when his father was still vice president. Thank you, Hunter, and I will be delighted to do future work with you. I also spoke to Dad a few weeks ago and would like to explore with him some future work options. You're not supposed to do this while you're still in office, so by the way. I believe that working together on these and other legal matters would be of value, fun, and rewarding. Does that mean legal as in like lawyering or legal as in they're not illegal? I wonder. So let's take a look, huh? Jared Kushner and Ivanka, business people for many, many years, right? They're the corrupt ones. And these two characters on the right, they're clean. We know the truth. It's obvious. Anybody can see it if they'll go to the trouble of showing it to you. I'll be right back.